Hey everyone, I am in the kitten room. So if you hear a lot of noises, hopefully that's because they're running around domesticating themselves while I film this. So I'm doing a video today on Kourtney Kardashian. I'm just gonna start switching over as if I was doing a reading for her. If you don't know what I'm doing here, just read the description below, okay? So I've already done a video on you and Kourtney, and it was earmarked back then that you're gonna have a baby. The part that earmarked it for me was I saw you pregnant, I saw you desiring to have a baby, and it being a private affair of the process of becoming pregnant. Okay, this is like something very personal to you of wanting to be pregnant. There were a lot of concerns and worries surrounding this, a lot of like desire, but it's like very sensitive, okay? And so I remember it being marked when I said the word family. I don't remember the context of it, but it was, I said family, and then they said to remember this, okay? And it's beyond me just verifying you're gonna have a child. There's a lot of information, context that follows with this, okay? But I wanted to give some couple information coming forward first before I get into that. I do want to say pelicans. Okay, so with the baby, there's pelicans, and I'll explain that in a minute. But they just want me to say that really quick. And then Ryan Leslie, Gibberish, the song, and then Yellow. I don't know who that's by. Yellow. Look at the stars. So, and then 5, the number 5, and also 5 minutes. So either something's gonna happen in 5 minutes. That's significant because it's like, give me 5 minutes, just something like that. And then you're gonna have a bombardment of signs, okay? Signs, synchronicities, repeating numbers, all of this. And it means a multitude of things. It's gonna mean that there are crossed away people that are coming through, your guardian angels coming through, your soon-to-be children coming through, just guidance coming through, all kinds of different stuff, okay? You're gonna see it in forms of, I'm seeing the floor, so I don't know if you're gonna be finding coins or you're just gonna be finding items that are significant that'll physically be on the floor. You're gonna have animals trying to come into your door, so whether these are like birds, butterflies, dragonflies, something like that, trying to come into your door, trying to come into your window possibly too, but significantly highlighting like a glass structure. So I don't know if you have a glass door or something going in there. And it's big, so I guess it could be like a big window. Anyway, shooting stars. You're gonna be seeing shooting stars and glimmers. So when you see glimmer, they're saying this is gonna be, it's gonna be 2 different things. It's your guardian angel, and it's also gonna be someone who's passed away. And then they're showing like a ruby and how it's shining in the sunlight, and so it's casting a like yellow orangish hue, like it's like really like reflecting the sun off of it, and so beautiful. So there's a significance to that, okay? And then like a photo, there's like photo or photos that you've been looking at of whether it's like yellowish there too, like sepia kind of, or it just feels like older photos. And so it's kind of like, you know, like those older photos kind of are dim, like Polaroids and everything, they kind of have like a dim shade to it. And then I'm seeing yellow with that too. So I don't know if there's yellow flowers or like, again, the sepia kind of thing. There's something with that. And like work or like a hill. So it's like looking down. So, or it could be like an older figure in your life, right? And he's looking down. So he's like looking down at you, or like looking down at things in the ground, or like that, or like you're somewhere like high, so it could be like, you know, Grand Canyon or something, you know what I mean? You can look down, something like that is significant here. Okay, so they're giving me this story, right? And I have like tons of windows like right here. Okay, so I'm on the second floor right now of my house, and I have like this stairwell right here that's like surrounded. Okay, and it's like a little private stairwell right here, and then I have like a bunch of flowers and stuff, right? And then I have a wasp nest, and I don't see any of the wasp up there, and I didn't know this was there. They're constantly trying to build there. Every season, multiple times a season, they keep trying to build there, and I keep taking it down. So they're using these as examples. So they're telling me to say this in the story of what I'm telling you, and then you can very readily make sense of this, okay? So it was like an organization, something that could potentially be dangerous if you just kind of let it run amok. It's something that's been consistent for you for seasons, whether this means when you first got famous or right before you got super famous, okay? I'm talking like super stardom, like you're probably like always kind of famous, right? Like within your community, and then everything that was publicized through your parents, and then the whole enterprise of the Kardashians. So it's around the enterprise of the Kardashians or right before that there's also, you can look at this as paparazzi, you can look at this as like old friend group that is still connected to like your main circle of friends. It's people that are not like you kind of work alongside each other in some way, but you're not necessarily connected to them, and they're mostly a bother. So it's like you kind of try and find use of it. I don't know, it doesn't feel good. So like the best way I can think is like if you have like terrible employees, right? And like they're always stealing, always doing these kinds of things, and so you're like, okay, well, you know what, I'm gonna keep them on, and I'll just keep using them as kind of like ways to figure out how to tighten up security around here, because they're gonna find a way to steal, so I'm just gonna find a way to like lock everything down so that I'm even more protected. It's like that, where it's not a good relationship to be around them, but you're just trying to make the best of it because there's not really much you can do about it. Or it's kind of like because you're such a celebrity or something that you just can't get away from it. Like it's kind of hard, it feels impossible, right? You could just like manage it. That's the best thing you do, is manage it. And so because of the way your life is right now, the dynamics, it seems you're paying a lot of attention to it, but they're highlighting the fact that the wasps aren't there. The nest is there, but they're not there, which is kind of good, but also kind of like, where are they? Are they gathering resources? What are they doing? When are they going to be back? What is going on, right? Or is that abandoned? It's like all these kind of questions when it comes to that, right? And so because I'm focusing on so much attention to this nest, now I'm not watering my flowers. And the watering of the flowers, they're saying this has something to do with self-hygiene, self-care and hygiene. And they're saying it's literally like something is like, let's say your morning routine is you get up, you meditate, you drink some tea, you dry brush, you shower, you get your day started. And now because you're focusing on that nest, then you're saying, okay, then I'm going to do all of that except skip my meditation, or I'll do it like every couple days, like that. So to you it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it's causing an unorganized mind, and it's starting to wear on you more than you realize it. It's like you're at that point where you're like, okay, I'm aware, I know it's going to be a problem, I know it kind of is a problem, but I'm managing it, so it's not that big of a deal right now. When they're saying it's actually like you need to deal with it now, or you're not going to be happy about it, right? So if you take it to the example of the flowers, then it'd be like, I'm so focused on the wasps, that I'm thinking, oh, I'll water the flowers every once in a while and they'll survive for a certain amount of time, right? They'll be okay. They're not going to be as beautiful and healthy as they would be if I prioritized caring about them, but they're going to be fine. But eventually they may not, right? They're going to perish if I don't take care of them. And that's kind of the road that you're going on. Is like it can get very messy, and you don't want to get to the point where you're just like managing the mess and like it's kind of like compromising, right? Like if the flowers died, then it's kind of like not that big of a deal in some ways, because I'm like, oh well, I could just go out and get new flowers, whatever. But it's kind of compromising mentally. Like, what does that do to me, right? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like for mental health purposes, or like thinking psychologically speaking, I'm kind of telling myself that it's okay to neglect things that I find important in my life, because I'm teaching myself that I can focus on things that I can easily control. I can control how much thought I give to the wasp nest and still have the things that I desire and make me happy, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what's going on with that. And then they're painting this other picture where on all these flower boxes, there's a bunch of little wrens that are starting to try and build nests out there. And they're saying to compare those nests compare those birds as examples of you saying, oh, well, I am protected, right? Like, because I'm not taking care of the flowers and that makes me really happy, then I can watch these birds build their nests and that'll make me happy instead. So I'm shifting my focus onto something else and saying, oh, well, I'm still okay. When that's not true, because it's kind of like, you can kind of see it in the example that me going and watering those flowers, that's giving myself responsibility, personal responsibility, right? I'm not doing anything to let those birds do what they need to do, right? So I need to do something that's going to keep me physically active and working or whatever, for my own sake. Like, I'm kind of like, I can have all of those things, right? You get what do you see what the picture I'm painting here? And so with these birds, they're also saying that these are examples of, they're like people. So I don't know if it's like employees or like people that are working, because it feels like you're basically saying, well, because like my businesses are running fine, I can kind of step away and they'll function, you know, independently of me, even though my input is necessary or significant. It's not really like I need to always, you know, they'll understand, that kind of thing. They can make it work. Or it's like just like personal, like personal kind of people that work within the system of your enterprise, and how you're kind of shifting responsibility that way, sort of. I mean, you're not really shifting responsibility, but it's kind of like to make yourself feel okay about the situation, that kind of thing. Okay. Okay, let's get into the situation with the babies. We don't know. Just give me a second and then we'll get back. The kittens are playing. So I'm sitting here meditating and I heard the song Gibberish very loudly in my head again, and I opened my eyes and I looked up, and there's a moth trying to come into my window. So there's a sign right there. Okay, so with the pelicans, I was actually in this room and I was over there and I was looking out my window and I was watching the pelicans drift by, and that is originally what brought this into my awareness, because as a representation energetically of, I believe it's this baby, I don't know unless it's another baby coming through, and this is just the process of the baby coming in, right? Because it's between you and Travis. So this baby, we're just gonna say it's a baby between you and Travis, okay? This baby is a very special. Obviously, all children are special. All your children are special. This is just what's coming through. Why it's significant. Okay, so it's this feeling that you've always dreamt of this particular child. Like you knew this person, you knew this baby, you knew they would come into this world. You've known them probably nearly all your life. You had visions of this child, this person. And there seems to be some fear and worry, some sort of trepidation when it comes to this child, because you know that they're destined for stardom. And they're showing me like the public persona of like Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. Like they were icons, right? And they were good role models in the sense that people didn't know about their personal lives, okay? And they didn't know, they only knew what was publicized, right? And so even though people idolized them, it was through the lens of the publisher, right? And whoever's involved with them, their agencies or whatever. So in a lot of ways, they kind of curated, again, like a good role model. This person, they're showing in this similar fashion as a wonderful role model, good public persona, and envied, idolized, like these celebrities of old, we'll say, because we don't have that kind of limited access like we did back then. Maybe Taylor Swift, Beyonce, people like that have limited access to, but it's different because those are musicians, and I'm seeing this person as, I mean, those are actors. It feels more of like a persona. I know Taylor Swift, like people love her and like her work and everything, but it just feels like this person feels, it feels very like, I don't know, like old school like that in some ways. Like it's almost like you see them everywhere, or you see their work everywhere. I don't know, there's a difference. There's a difference between a musician, even if they are a musician, it's like the difference between like Taylor Swift or Beyonce and then like Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie or Jennifer Aniston or any of these people. There's a difference there that I'm not really like able to convey, but I think would make sense. So anyway, so there's that. Like they're destined for stardom, and you know this. And there's something that makes you afraid about that, because there's like protection involved with that. And then of course like wanting them to have autonomy over their choices, but wanting to make responsible choices and not just kind of doing it out of like an immature mind and not really necessarily understanding, or like thinking that it's like following the parents' footsteps and thinking whatever, like kind of going from it or desiring something from a more kind of immature place instead of it being like sincere. But also you get rid of, I'm looked up and it's in the 5-minute mark again, so very important for the number 5 minutes. Okay, you get what I'm saying, and I think there's a lot of fear about like spiritual attacks here, and like just like the kind of people that are in this world, right, that you're fully aware of. And that's not something that you want to involve your children in, this child with. And it's important for you to know. So the pelican, like they work off of what is the word? Okay, so I don't know, just like Google, I don't know, I can't think of the word right now, of like how the birds, pelicans, and like other shorebirds, or like transatlantic type of birds fly. Okay, it's like the drift, like what is it called? You know, like when you go up a windy hill, so it's like the sun. This is just like another example because the waves do this too, but like the sun heats up the ground and the ground releases it, and then it turns into like air, right? And so it's like wind, and so it creates like a current. And so when you see them twirling and everything, then they're finding those currents and just kind of like carrying them to the next one. So they're showing this in terms of like I mean, it is energy, but like a different, like it's like the more that's off put from the world of this like heated energy, like this like negative energy, it's creating this current where this baby lives. This, it's like, it feels like this planet, like I'm seeing some off in the distant planet, okay? And then beyond that is where this baby is. And they're, I'm gonna say person because it's like feels like more, they just feel like a person to me. And so they're like gliding, they're gliding and gliding and gliding down. So like the more negative energy that kind of comes off of here, whether it's like you're doing, people around you doing, families doing, just the world, it creates a current for this person to come into this orbit, to like just kind of suspend and twirl and twirl and twirl and twirl into this world. And the way it shows is like they come in, then it just like it feels like this like powerful vessel of just this protected white yellowish light, like a force field, and this baby and you encapsulated in it, and it creates just like this it's a vortex, but then it's also a portal where it's like transmuting all of this energy and just making it like the perfect environment for this person to come into this world. and it's destiny. Like, you having this person, this child, is destiny. Because you really, really love your husband. And it's created like this atmosphere, this perfect atmosphere for them to come in, with the assistance of all the atmospheric pressure of everything that gave off this current. Okay. Anything else? I think that's basically it. Is to just verify for you all these repeating signs and everything, synchronicities, and also that you are in tune and aligned with always knowing this person was supposed to come into your life. They're supposed to be born into your life. Okay, so that's what I get, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.